sorry. All right, let's see if we're getting this up and running. Let's see.
It says we are now streaming live on YouTube.
I hope that's correct. Let's just wait and see. Hang on a second. All right, hello everybody, and thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, you're talking to me? Sorry. All right, let's see if we're getting this. Here we go. Okay, so welcome everybody to another Adventures with Sarah adventure, and today I'm being joined live from Tuscany by my friend Roberto Bechi. Buongiorno, Roberto.
Buongiorno.
And I'm being joined by his friend and colleague, Brian, who's in Los Angeles. Hello, Brian.
Finally, great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
And probably all bad things coming from Roberto, I'm guessing. I'm sure he's told you about how tall I am.
Only good things, only good things.
So Roberto, you and I just had a great time last month discussing or going around and filming things in Tuscany. And part of what gave you the inspiration to work on this project with me was this project that you and Brian have just finished up. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the project?
Well, the project was born by two people that didn't know each other, didn't have any friend in common. It was just, I answered to one of his, pictures that he had when he just came to Tuscany to visit Tuscany and his family, because Brian has a family originally from Italy, so from North Italy. And I just wrote to him that if he would like to go back and in Tuscany, see Tuscany with my eyes. And he did it, and he did it with a camera. So it was very spontaneous. We didn't plan this. It was just, he came with a camera and we decided together to record our experience.
It was the most unusual message I ever got on my social media page, because I'd just been in Tuscany and I was studying at an Italian language school there, took a vacation doing the normal tourist things, and I posted a photo and Roberto sends this message, would you like to see Tuscany through my eyes? Like, who is this guy? What does he want, And then something just told me, check this guy out and go back. And I did, and I picked up I didn't even have a camera. I got a camera and took a leap of faith and I went.
So what was your first reason for going to Italy? Just you always wanted to go, you thought it was beautiful, you watched a lot of travel videos. What inspired you the first time to go there?
I have a passion for travel that started when I was 16. I was an exchange student with France. I'm a polyglot. I just love travel. But my job didn't really allow for that, because I was, one of these people that was working 12, 14 hours a day and managing the careers of other people. That's what I did for a living, a talent manager. And my father never got a chance to retire. So right before he passed away, he said, Brian, don't wait. And what he meant is don't wait to pursue your dreams. And so when Roberto said, hey, just do it, I was like, okay. And I asked him, I said, what should I bring? What are we going to see? What should I bring? And he goes, no expectations. That's how he answered my question. I thought, oh, this guy's got something special here. And I said, what should I pack? And he said, an empty suitcase. I said, a what? He goes, an empty suitcase. I said, why? He said, so you can bring back lots of memories. I mean, this is a movie in the making. I just the way he was talking to me, I said, I have to make this. I have to. So I didn't really know that I was going to do a documentary. All I knew is that I was going to record whatever the experience was, I was going to record it. That was it. There was no plan. There was no script. There was no story. There was absolutely just an organic, be present and see what happens.
So do you have experience in filmmaking then, or you're a talent agent, but have you ever had experience in actually making something?
I was an executive for a film studio back in the 80s and worked on about 75 film projects, but not as a cameraman. not as an editor, not as a cinematographer, not as a colorist. I was in the story department developing, helping to hire the above the line talent for the budget, putting the celebrities in the movie, that type of thing. So doing a lot of contracts and working with writers, producers, directors.
So when you actually got there, what gave you the idea to start turning your experience into a movie?
Wow, that's a good question. I think Roberto introduced me to a man by the name of Romano, and who was Roberto's mentor in terms of life lessons. And he started talking about different things. We visited his fabric shop, which you'll see in the video. And he would say things like, "Brian, our shop is breathing with us. It's not on the internet. It's breathing with us."
Cool.
So,
Well, I've got a little clip here that I can share with people of
Sure.
this person that you're talking about. I remember when I saw Roberto a couple of years ago, he was working on this with you, and he played this, played a little clip of this guy. So let me pull up for you, Romano, and let's have a little look at this.
Roberto, maybe you can explain who he is.
Sure. Well, Romano had a major surgery today.
Oh,
So
no.
it's kind of emotional for me. He had a big surgery and he's doing well, but just today, and he saw our documentary the night before the surgery, and he sent me a message, say, "I love you." So it's great.
Oh, that's great. Let me pull this one up for you.
Romano is going to be 90 in December.
Wow, that's great. And he's worked in what kind of business? In the fabric business the whole time?
Fabric. His father opened his fabric shop in 1929.
All right.
Where the whole economy.
That Florence was descending from Fiesole, which was a Etruscan center. And the Etruscan civilization is one of the best in all Tuscan history, because she and he were on the same level, and harmony between woman and man. And it's what we should find and discover also for the future.
That's beautiful. So he's kind of a wise person that you've learned a lot from, Roberto, because I know you also have a passion for
it's a spiritual father. It's a spiritual father. It's not about knowledge. I mean, I met a lot of people with a lot of knowledge, including you, many people with informations. And so you can buy a computer that has that, but people that can connect emotions with notions, with informations, are rare. And when you meet somebody like that, it's like winning the lotto. It changes your mind frame. Suddenly you see things that in a different color. Suddenly you want to, you become curious. And he said once, keep traveling, because money is, if you spend money on traveling, you become richer. So every time you meet him, it's like having a university course on something, and you cannot even name the course. It's just one of these Renaissance men that still exist, even in this world where we sell things, where you want to sell something, and that's something that Brian and I, we kept in mind. We don't want to sell anything with this documentary. We wanted just to expose people to how we felt, how I felt, how Brian felt, by introduce to the Tuscan people. Not the most famous people, or just people that made a difference in my life, and I shared that with Brian, and we decided to share with all of you.
Right, and Romano became the glue for the project. We shot all this film. Roberto took me to all these amazing locations, and I came back and I said, what am I going to do with this? How do I make this into anything? And then all these little words of wisdom that Romano would say, I thought maybe I could take little sound bites of that and then open it up outside the fabric shop and go to, you know, Montalcino, to Montepulciano, go to all the different areas, Chianti, and somehow tie this whole notion of you have to get your hands dirty in life. There's a clip that Annibale in Montalcino, where he's hand painting the bottles. And he talks about what is necessary to make good wine. And he talks about the passion and about the light from the sun and all these different colors that are represented by the bottle. So again, I went thinking I was going to taste a Brunello wine. We did not drink one glass of wine when I visited Annibale.
Yeah, but
He gave me a bottle.
Yeah, but he calmed our thirst.
Yes.
In many ways, because it's another man that you know, changed my perspective. And again, these people don't give you all they do. Quoting you know, Romano, they give you threads. You have all the threads. That's up to you to weave with these threads as something beautiful. You know, these people are just giving you the material, and then you like this documentary was weaved with 4 hands, you know, and 2 hearts.
Well,
I've got another little clip I can share with people. This is another family that you you visited. So let's have a quick look and see about this part of it.
Ciao Brian. Guida.
Voglio prendere da qui. Cantuccino nel bicchiere del Vinsantino. Poi morsino.
These are such fun little little vignettes of Tuscan life. I mean, I think that that's what's really nice about the documentary is you're just kind of getting to the heart of what it is to actually live in that place and interact with the people, rather than sort of all the tacky touristy sort of images and, you know, the things that people really see. And that, I think you and I have talked about a lot, Roberto, about how
Yes.
what we really want people to do is, instead of just coming and, you know, taking the photograph in front of, you know, the Duomo in Florence and going out and getting another photo of them drinking a glass of wine in the Chianti, it's better to meet the people, because the people are what make the culture, no?
Exactly.
absolutely.
It's the difference between being a tourist and a traveler. A traveler is somebody that meets people, not vendors. So
Right.
that's the whole point of traveling. It's not the destination, it's the journey, as we say. Even in the Middle Age, the pilgrims were going to Rome. They spent months on the way to Rome. Then they stayed in Rome one night and they went back. So it was not even being in front of the Pope or being in Rome. It was the, you know, challenging yourself, as Brian did it. Not knowing me, he challenged himself first.
Right.
He said that it's not just a matter of being trusting Roberto or not. He first challenged himself, and that was the big step.
Yeah. Well, I've got a little clip here of the bottle painting as well. If you guys would like, we can
Sure.
take a
Sure,
that.
that'd be great.
All right.
Grande passione e anche del lavoro fisico, lavoro che ti sporca le mani, e quindi l'ho rappresentato con il nero, una piccola parte di nero. Finalmente occorre, oltre la terra, la passione e il lavoro, la luce del sole, una bella annata luminosa e piena di calore, e questa gliel'ho data con un tocco di bianco.
So
Tutte
every
le
bottle is
etichette
different.
hanno questi 4
Yes.
Due elementi sono della natura, la terra e la luce, e 2 elementi sono umani, il lavoro e la passione.
That's beautiful. So he actually goes through every single bottle and he hand paints every
5,000 every year.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. So each bottle is literally a work of art.
Yeah, I don't have to do it with my wine, thank God, because I'll be a bad painter. But you know,
Roberto, I'm a little disappointed in you, man. You got to get to work.
yeah, I know I cannot paint that, but I painted my shirt with a lot of wine when I drink it. That's all I can do.
There's an opening scene in the documentary. We start on a rainy field with the sheep, which is a view from Roberto's backyard, as I'm sure you're familiar with it. I've seen your video of the sheep from Roberto's backyard, but it was raining that day. And I was standing inside his doorway so that my camera wouldn't get wet, shooting out across the field. And Roberto had said, you know, in life, are you a tourist or a traveler? And that was really the only preconceived thought that we had before I arrived. And the other thing was a poem that my mentor in showbiz gave to me called Ithaca by Kafafi. And it talks about, you know, the journey, not the destination. And so for a while we had the Ithaca poem was the beginning, but it's a Greek poem. And it was kind of confusing. Why you're talking about, you know, Greek things when this is an Italian project. So we unfortunately had to scrap the Ithaca idea, but we kept that idea, the idea of entering new harbors to savor everything, the perfume, the smell, the taste, that's all in the poem. If you get a chance, Google Ithaca by Kafafi. It's just a great poem.
Which is very interesting, Brian, because as you remember, one of my best friend is the translator, the official translator of that poem in Italian language. And so I read that many times, and we had that in common too. So that we thought that was the thread, you know, and then the Romano became, you know, the glue, as you said, you know, but that's a beautiful poem, it really is.
I've got for you guys that little opening montage I'll go ahead and play for everybody to watch, just to give you a sample of some of the beautiful things that they saw. So this is the opening to their film. That is so pretty.
The composer is a friend of Brian, David Friedman. I don't know if you want to talk about him. He's a great composer.
David Friedman is this amazing friend of mine. And he was the conductor and musical arranger of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas. But he's, you know, his songs have been recorded by Diana Ross and I mean, Barry Manilow, lots of wonderful people. And he writes a lot of very uplifting spiritual songs. So I knew instinctually that he'd be perfect for this, to do a simple piano score that he performed, played himself. And when we talked about this opening, what I wanted to do was create a feel of a lullaby, that you were suddenly, you know, you start at the beginning with fear, with the rain, and everything's very dark and very closed. And do I go? Should I not? The life lesson, what my dad said, don't wait, all of that. And you open up to this beautiful Tuscan landscape, which, the whole tone changes. And then I wanted everybody to take a breath. Breathe the air is what the song is, that David wrote at the end, trust the wind and breathe the air. So the idea was to create this sort of slow moving postcards, but more than a postcard, a real sense and a feel of the beauty of Tuscany. So David did a beautiful job, I think, of weaving that feeling.
That's beautiful. We've got another little clip I want to share with everybody, and this is a little bit more about sort of events here in Tuscany. Let's have a look.
Yes.
Those wine barrels weigh over 175 pounds each. The steep uphill race through cobblestone streets to the main square is called Bravio. Roberto, the passion of the townspeople cheering for their district to win was so moving. I didn't want anyone to lose.
Brian, the irony is that nobody really lost. There was a winner. But think about it. Before the race, we saw people proudly parading their medieval costumes, showing us a sense of belonging and unity. The winner's prize is not money. It's honor. This is the reason why I brought you here, to understand the real spirit of a community before you meet the actual people.
That is also lovely. And that, I think, is a lot of what you and I talk about, Roberto, all the time, is that all of these traditions and things, they mean a lot more than just, things to go on postcards. It's actually talking more about the way the people are connected.
And that's why I'm especially happy that we are, the three of us are here, because I think I know that because I know both of you, we have a lot of things in common, a lot of things. So it's an honor for me, to use it to Brian and vice versa.
So were you just happened to be in Montalcino for the Bravia, or was it, something you planned to do?
Yeah.
I planned that in Montepulciano to see the Bravio because, as I said in the documentary, I wanted him first to meet the community, because the landscape that he was talking about has been shaped by the community, by hard work of many generations. So you have to understand that the beauty doesn't come because God made it here in Tuscany. It's because the human were able to shape it that way. And so you have to meet the people and their pride to understand the culture and the people. Just like when I moved to America, it was not enough to know English. You have to understand the culture first, and you have to understand how the community lives. Otherwise, there are a lot of misunderstanding. And so I didn't want, Brian having a misunderstanding. First, you gotta see the beauty, you gotta see the community, then you meet the local people, and that makes the big difference, obviously.
So Roberto, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that people have when they come to Tuscany?
As we talked, sometimes you and I, a lot of people just travel for the day. Oh, let's go to see the Bravio, or let's go to see the horse race in Siena for Campagna di Palio, or let's go to see that beautiful church. So they're visiting, they don't meet anybody. So misunderstanding is everything here is an open museum, and so they're just things that are there, beautiful. I see it, I go away, and nothing remains. So you think that you're going to see a museum, and instead you gotta understand why that beautiful church or the beautiful landscape or the beautiful celebration is happening. And that's what I try to do with Brian. Stay long enough to meet the people so that you understand it is not an open museum, it's a living, community. And so it's not folkloristic. So a lot of people think it's folkloristic. It's to attract tourists, to sell more souvenir. That's a misunderstanding. No? Behind that, there is a preparation of the community, doing something for themselves first. Then if you are there witnessing, it's okay.
So Brian, what do you think was your biggest surprise of getting to know Tuscany?
The first thing that comes to mind is just the warmth of the people, and the generations of carrying on the traditions from family to family. Doesn't mean they don't have other interests. You know, they can be race car champions, they can be sculptor artists, but they work their land and they are with the family business and they keep that tradition going. And I was just impressed by everyone that I met. And you hear the stories. We have, I did a Vin Santo tasting in a cellar, and he tells the story that people used to come to his farm and knock on the door. And if they were particularly interesting, they would offer Vin Santo so they would stay longer to talk. If they weren't interesting, they got some water and they were on their way. I mean, all these, just these little beautiful pieces of how people connect. It's just a very different way of connecting.
Yeah, and I actually remember that. I think maybe that was more common in the Italy of the past, because I remember that from when I was a student living in Italy, where if you'd walk through a town where there weren't really tourists, people would just approach you because they were curious about you. They'd invite you into their homes. I think that the world has changed, obviously, but that was always the thing that stuck with me on my first trips to Italy in the early 90s when I was a student, that it stunned me that people were so curious and they were so interested to just connect with you. And that always was the feeling that I got, is that people have this real interest. Italians, at least, I feel like, have a very big interest in connecting.
And if you go off the beaten path, it still happens, because it's unusual. No? If I, as we talk, you and I sometimes, and Brian too, if you go to a small, tiny village in the middle of the Apennine Mountains, where no tourist or there is no souvenir shop or anything, and you go there, you see ladies and people on the window, they look at you and say, who are these people? You know, news. Wow. Look at that tall woman called Sarah, that short guy. Let's find out who they are. Do you know who they are? So it's true everywhere in the world. If you go enough off the beaten path, you find new people that you are surprised by them, and they're surprised about you.
Well, that is one of the nice pleasures about being 6'2", is that everywhere I go, people are curious.
Especially if you walk with me. Especially if you walk with me. Look at that beautiful woman with the short little smurf. But beside that, is the juice of travel is that you go to see the beautiful cathedral, you go to see this beautiful artist, but you also go to see the family, what they do today, you know? And when I travel to America, that's what I do. I go off the beaten path.
I think you have to find a balance of the two as well.
Sure.
So Brian, now that you've made your first film, your first documentary, what's your plan? So you've put it onto Amazon Prime. So people who are watching, if you'd like to watch the entirety of the documentary, they can find it on Amazon Prime. So this was just sort of a happenstance thing you didn't really intend to do, right. But has it inspired other projects, or what do you intend to do with the film in the future?
Actually, for anyone listening out there, the next plan is to do it next time with a very small crew, and make it an episodic type of show. So perhaps Sicily beyond expectations, or another area beyond expectations, because I think there is a personality to each location you go to, and I think that's what Roberto and I would love to do again, is to have another adventure in another location, and you know, could be a different host. It could be, and it doesn't have to be me. It could be whatever. But we're looking forward to shooting more when we have that opportunity to do it. So
Did I read correctly that you submitted your documentary into some short film festivals?
I submitted to 3 film festivals just a couple days ago. It takes a while to find out whether they get accepted or not. I hope it will. But the main thing for me is right now, the distribution is just the US and UK, and it's not exclusive. So if anyone out there would like to talk about worldwide distribution rights, we are very open to that. I would love to get it on PBS. I've made some phone calls there. I'm waiting to hear back. The main thing is just for people to see it. That's our goal.
My goal, my dream would be
Yes.
the dream team, and the 3 of us. that is utopia, but you never know.
Yeah,
That we could do something together, because I know both of you. I know how gifted you are as writers, a lot of sensibility, a lot of things. So you never know. Something might happen one day.
All right,
Let's not give.
Get on that project.
Eh?
You get on that, my friend.
All right, good. Because you know, 4 eyes see well, 6 see even better. You know what I mean? So it's more perspectives make everything richer. You know.
Anyone that works in the producing industry will tell you that collaboration is the most important thing you can have for any project. And I wish we would have had more collaboration on this, but we didn't know we were making a documentary when I went over. So
it's true.
If I had known, it would have been, I would have probably approached it. It would have been easier, I guess, is what I'm saying. It was
easier, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you never know what projects will come up in the future. So Roberto has always talked about how this idea of doing a series that goes into the lesser known corners of Italy. And I think that's it's really valuable, because I think for me, just my current philosophy looking at the way tourism is, we have this breather, this time when we're not doing tourism. So what does that mean? I think it's a hard reset on the way we all look at travel, and the way we as Americans can approach travel in a more sustainable way and a more meaningful way. Because for me, it doesn't make any sense to keep telling people to do all the big touristy things when they go and they take a picture and then they're gone and they don't really remember it. But if you meet somebody like Romano, if you go and you talk to the nonna in the village and she invites you in for a glass of wine, that is something you will never forget. And it's you can't plan for that stuff necessarily, but what it is more than anything is just encouraging people to be brave about kind of stepping away from mainstream traditional tourism, because what you take home from that, you don't maybe take home your picture of you posing in front of the Colosseum, but what you do take home is those emotional mementos. It leaves a bigger impression, I think, on people. Don't you think?
Again, trust and no fear. It's removing fear and trust, the 2 themes of the documentary.
Brian should have seen Sarah and I. We filmed just recently, just 3 weeks ago. Sarah with a 92 years old lady called Renata. Renata is to the shorter than me, believe it or not. And she's the cutest in the world. And I was looking at Sarah's eyes, and she was just so in love. And she kept, I'm telling you, for an hour, she kept her hand. Sarah was holding her hand for an hour. It was just like most beautiful. And when we filmed it, it's the best thing we ever filmed. This moment with these ladies.
She had a salty sense of humor, though. My goodness.
Sorry, what?
She had a really salty sense of humor.
Right.
She was funny. She's sassy. I like that lady.
Oh yeah, but it was beautiful to see you, Sarah, in that moment. Because you when you are in front of them, you lose even if somebody's filming, you lose every break, as we say, So you are living that moment, and that's the most beautiful natural thing to film, is something that is happening with no idea that there's a camera there. As I'm saying.
I think that for me, it kind of is the lens through which I see all of the things I do, social media or videos or any of the things, is that I am a neutral party, you know. I guess it's because I'm a middle child. I'm a middle child, which is like, I'm the forgotten one, the one nobody pays attention to, but that's good because what I'm there to be is to be like the lens or the translator, the person that can help you to feel the feelings of that moment rather than it being about me personally, because I'm not important. Who I am and the way I see things is not necessarily important, but what's important is to help people to understand the moment better, if that makes sense. So
True.
yeah, I think it
Absolutely.
has a lot to do with being a middle child. You're just there.
I was the last one.
I
I was the last
last.
one for a reason.
Oh, I understand so much more about you now, Roberto.
I'm the baby of the family as well.
It's
We
true.
have that in common.
And I lost my hair first. That's
Yes.
too bad.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, you guys, it has been lovely talking about your documentary that you filmed. So for those of you watching out there, if you'd like to watch the full length version and you have Amazon Prime, it's called Tuscany Beyond Expectations. And you can watch it there anytime you like and see what they've put together. How long does it run? Is it an hour or half hour?
27 minutes.
27.
27 minutes.
So if you'd like to be transported on a lovely cloud into Tuscany when you feel like you're a little bit sorry you can't travel, this might be a great way to give you a window into another place and think about when we can travel again. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining me today. It's been wonderful to talk about your documentary. I hope that you get accepted into all the awards and you're able to put this into some film festivals. I know that Roberto has worked on it with a lot of passion as well. So congratulations to you both for a really great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So that's again, Roberto, Bechi, and Brian Gendece. And if you'd like to watch their video, again, it's on Amazon Prime, Tuscany Beyond Expectations. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. And hopefully we'll be back on Facebook again tomorrow with more adventures. But until then, ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao. Grazie mille.